What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Night Image Designs. We are at the final episode of the Making of the Scavenger. And thank you guys for coming along for the ride. I really hope you enjoy this whole process. Exactly 2 weeks from now, the day this video is posted, the final trailer clip will be released. So it came out really well, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. So I'm gonna cut this intro short and get straight to the video. So enjoy. Alright, so last time we left off, I was working on the belt. So now we're gonna revisit the belt and do some final touch-ups, which is just me going through with some sandpaper to give it some weathering. You know, just like the armor, it's very worn and torn, so I wouldn't want any of the fabric pieces to look brand new. So yeah, it's just a very simple process. I'm just going through with some high grit sandpaper and just scuffing it up where I think will look nice, and that's pretty much it. And then that's pretty much done, and then on to the next project. Alright, so with this piece I kinda came up with last minute. It's just to help blend in the glove and the sleeve area. It's just too contrasty. It goes from black to this green, so I wanted to put a little brownish leather in between it to give it a little extra decor. But it's just a whole part of the process of adding layers to it. Just gives it more substance. So the way I went about this design was just a simple wraparound, and I'm gonna have some leather strips kind of filter through it, if that makes sense. Kind of like a belt lace, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm just cutting out 2 slits on each side, and then that's gonna hold the belt in place. Alright, so there it is. It's only about like a inch width lace of leather, and it's very simple, but it just adds a little extra as to having either just a glove that transitions to a sleeve, or having something in between that kind of just blends everything together, and it looks really nice. And as to just having a blank strap of leather that wraps around, adding those little kind of belts through the loops, just really adds some extra wow to it. So this is the part where I was going through different ways to kind of hold it all together, and I was going with buckles, and then I realized I didn't make the straps long enough. So being a cosplayer, or whatever the you want to call it, because I don't play games, but when making suits and stuff like that, you gotta really take in consideration, if you're gonna be putting it on your own, the best way and the easiest way to be able to take it on and off. You gotta consider all those variables when you're working with stuff like this. So the best solution for this was to add a zipper to it. It's the easiest way to pull it on and off on my own, so that's what I ended up doing. There it is, all put together. So I ended up using a little extra bit of leather that's going to wrap around, obviously, the hand, just so it all kind of ties in a little bit more. And I just went in with sandpaper also as well, and scuffed it up, added some paint, give it a little bit of texture, and then I call it done. Alright, so with this part of the suit, I was making I decided to make some pouches. These pouches are going to go on his sleeve, or his I'm sorry. These pouches are going to go on his strap on the backpack. It's just to add a little extra, decor to him. But these pouches took a long time. They're very tedious to make. I think I was going for around 5 of them, and all I did was create a little template, cut a bunch out, then I stitched one together. Once I realized that the one was good to go, then I just went ahead and just stitched the rest of them. Yeah, these took a while because there's just so many pieces. There's like 4 sides to it, and I have to stitch all 4 sides together, and you just flip it inside out and then get a nice little pouch. There we go, all done. And what I'm using to fill them in, because I don't want them to be all like saggy and looking deflated, so I just cut out a couple pieces of foam, made a template for those as well. Cut them out on my bandsaw, and they fit in nice and snug. Just fills in all the space in between. Then I'm going to go in later on with some glue and just kind of glue that flap down, and they should be good to go. Alright, so this next part of the suit was kind of a last minute thing, and it was something that just helped the chest. It was supposed to help fill in the abdominal area, because it was just too bland. I didn't like seeing all that fabric in between. So what I'm doing here is that process I've been doing a lot throughout the suit, which is making these little trim areas using a string and gluing it to a strip of fabric. And then I'm gonna obviously stitch down the edge to give it a nice tight bevel. And yeah, like I've been using this same technique for most of the suit. So I have this little piece of fabric or leather that you can see right there, and the leather's kind of cut kind of crudely, so I'm going to use this little trim area to stitch to the edge around that little, it's kind of like a rectangle piece, to help kind of just clean it up. And that piece is going to go right under the chest armor and just help it get some nice detail. You know, I could have gone and resculpted a whole, you know, Stormtrooper ab piece, but this character is mostly fabric at this point, and I kind of want to keep it that way. I feel like the less armor, the more I have to focus on trying to make it artistically, I guess, better, and it's more challenging. And I don't know, I kind of enjoy using fabric as a substitute for armor, even though practically he would probably die more than most, but he's supposed to be a badass, so probably not. Yeah, and I'm just folding those little corners in on themselves. And you see it cleans up the little edges, so I don't have this kind of like flaky edge. And then it's also going to get glued down, so those little edges, those little edges aren't like flaring up. But that's pretty much it. And then you'll see later on where it goes and what the purpose of me making this was for. There it is. And it just adds a little extra. I like it. I like how it looks. And you can see I scuffed it up on the leather where that little mark was to kind of blend in that kind of streak. on his ab. See that? Yeah, it's nice. Oh, it's very worn. And I'm pretty sure you notice I'm wearing the suit, and I guess it's kind of easier when you're working on pieces and you just want to put it on and see what it looks like. And it's kind of easy to have the whole thing already on because you get to see the full thing all together, I guess. But the next part I'm working on, as you can see, I'm poking holes through the armor. I'm just trying to add on some straps, and I could have gone the simple way and just make some simple, elastic straps that go around it. It's not like it's going to be a big showpiece having those leather pieces on my back, especially when I have that backpack on. It's going to cover everything, but I really wanted it all to kind of blend in, and the more straps you add, the more pouches you add, just kind of makes it a little bit more tactical. I'm using Chicago screws on most of the suit to kind of assemble everything together. You see I'm putting a big old washer on the back of that, and that's to keep the screw from kind of ripping through. If it gets too much pull, the screw could actually rip through the fabric, so putting a big old washer in between that kind of just holds it better in place. There it is. Oh, nice and strapped on. I used a Velcro. So the two pieces that go over the shoulder are connected, as well as the right strap, and then the left strap is the only one that comes off, and that's connected by Velcro, as I will demonstrate right here. I did it this way because it's a lot easier to put on and off. Like I said, when taking into consideration when doing cosplay or whatever you want to call it, you have to consider those variables when you realize that sometimes you got to put this on all on your own. So the easiest way to put it on is the best way. There you go. I also added a Velcro at the bottom of the shoulder piece, and that's just going to hold it in place. There's also a Velcro connected to the vest, and it's just going to keep it from flopping around everywhere. Alright, so this part of the suit, to be honest, was probably one of the most difficult. Not for the reasons you would think. It was difficult because trying to figure out the design, the concept, to make this practical and functional was the hardest thing. So the little vents at the end of a stormtrooper's mouth, there's like two of them. They're little like nipple vents. Those are supposed to be filters for the suit. And I thought they were just a little too, I guess, simple. They're kind of boring, so I switched them out with these big old hoses. And the issue with that is I didn't know how to connect these hoses to anything without making it look goofy. And then the most simple solution came to my head after so long trying to figure this out. At first I wanted to connect it to the chest, but they just kept flapping around, and I wanted to just wrap it around the neck too, and there was just too much pull and on one side, and it just looked awkward. So I decided just to mount it to the helmet. So I'm using a little piece of cut out PVC that's gonna go between the hose and the helmet when I put a screw through it, so it's just going to hold it in place instead of having a screw just rip through the rubber. So once those pieces are in place, I added just a little bit extra PVC to stick out because I'm going to connect it with another hose. So it's going to have the same effect. It's going to wrap around, but it's also going to stay in place, and it just makes it look good without looking kind of goofy with them flapping around, because at one point they looked like, you know, butterfly wings. When I would walk, they would just flap around back and forth. It just looked ridiculous. But yeah, this is the solution I went with. Finished. Now I want to thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate everybody who watched part 1 and part 2, and if you haven't, go check them out. And next time you'll see the scavengers in that trailer, I promise. So hope you guys enjoy it, and thank y'all for watching. Please subscribe and leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one.